Good afternoon from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. I got this mad idea over the course of the last few days to make videos. I've done it before, people, of me reading some of my writings that I come across that I have carefully curated and preserved and stored in vocal media that I dredge up from the archives of Facebook when my memories come around each day. And some of the writings are quite profound, in fact, even a little bit prescient or prophetic. Of course, I just usually write in the stream of consciousness and the flow and just think I'm just rambling, spiritual rantings or ramblings really, and don't take too much notice of it. And every now and then I stumble across it and go, wow, that was really intuitive or almost precognitive at times. So what prompted me to do this is I just had my laptop repaired by my friend Peter Sloan, my best friend Lynn's husband, which is very kind of him. Thank you, Peter. And so my laptop's up and running, and I haven't really used it much in the past 2 years, very rarely, because I mainly write on using my iPhone. But it's having a laptop means that I can have my writing up on the screen in front of me. Just put my chair forward and be able to talk to you on video. And so indulge me in my fantasies. What's leading to all this? The cause of all this is feeling unwell and that my demise is imminent, and wanting to leave a little bit of a legacy behind after me. And who knows what words of wisdom that I might impart, both on myself and on the wider, my wider YouTube audience. Or not that I have a lot of followers, don't get me wrong, I'm not getting narcissistic or egomaniacal, but you just never know who might stumble across my readings and therefore my freedom of expression and find some solace or comfort or something to enrich their lives with, because I've had plenty of experience in life enrichment, even though I'm not rich. As a former lover once said to me, you're rich in spiritual wealth, or rich in spirit, which I'm sure was his condescending, patronising way of kind of deriding me for not having made it through no fault of my own, right? And these condescending, patronising, nasty ones, I often find out later on were actually in no better position than I. They were just choosing to be vicious. So it's kind of amusing and, bemusing to see that some of my most vicious enemies were actually very much on an equal footing with me, even though they deigned to think they were somehow superior. So anyway, I came across this yesterday. Today is the 6th of October, but this is from the 5th of October. So I came across this little piece I wrote on the 5th of October 2019, I believe. Let me scroll back. So there's going to be a bit of faffing about like this. 2020. And I was musing because my half-sister, who's no blood relative of mine, she's a daughter of my mother's first husband and his second wife. So it gets very complicated, people. But I was actually worrying because she'd been, I found out later she was in hospital and was quite ill. And I don't have a lot of contact with her, but I had intuited that there was something very wrong, and I was unable to get hold of her, and so I was working myself into a bit of a tizzy. But she's fine now, thank goodness, but back at the time it was a very scary time for her. And love is love, people. Even though I don't have contact with people, sometimes I don't have regular contact at all, it can go years without speaking. I seem to often have this intuitive spiritual chord that I can pick up on people from time to time, which can be very draining when I don't know who the person is or what the circumstances are, although in her case I did find out very quickly that she'd been very, very ill, had been hospitalised. Anyway, so on the 5th of October 2020, I wrote this, 11:11 a.m. Make a wish. Flip on a switch in your consciousness. Dare to be in all dimensions. The one you are looking for sees you in all your earthly glory. Smile. We've got you. Let time take time as it unravels and unfurls the lotus that is you. There is always another flowering in that muddy, messy, agonized life. Each flowering opening up in spectacular disarray to all that is available and created for your breath. Light years from death that dogged your days and nights until you embraced her too, and now all there is love and light and the dreaming. Allow good people to surround you and support you. You do not have to do this life alone. Excuse me. Even though you were beguiled and besmirched by lackluster fools and inclement tools, liars, cheats, slanderers, and knaves, you were the one you knelt before and beside, singing your prayers to the farthest reaches of the cosmos, begging for karmic rectification and screaming in the psychedelic dreaming, which is, by the way, my nickname, Psychedelic Dreamer from Pal Talk days, that is, was, will always be you. I don't do psychedelics, people, but my nightscape is very florid and very psychedelic. They tell you know before whom you stand, but they did not tell you to know thyself. I am that I am becoming. Brilliant, flowing light body, emulated in third density in a flesh suit that was dishonoured and desecrated. But here, kid, lighten up. I gifted you this life as you are a specialist in your field, a survivor. So take that shit fuckery and hold up to the heavens the spiritual gold you wove so well out of it, and let it be a blanket of peace for those still struggling and puddling in their own darkness. I am will send them earth angels, and they will be known by their goodness and kindness and crazy laughter in the face of societal madness. Dancing and playing through the tunnel of despair to the tunnel of love. Not human romantic love that is too often faked, but the kind that gives you courage to know this life is your own unique gift and cannot be bought or stolen. Tear up your contracts of pain with all the demonic fuckers. You who cannot be owned as your spirit, your neshama, your ruach, which means breath, demands freedom. Sing it, pray it, vomit it if you must, but purge the illusion of disillusion. Your true loves will come for you when they get their own shit together. In the meantime, I have to laugh, it's kind of funny. In the meantime, here is a sign from the multiverses that I love you. Hold on to that tiny fragment of the fractal majesty. It is all we have sometimes. Love in the dreaming. A stitch in time saves 9, but they carved your flesh and rent your garments. So naked before the Lord of hosts must you stand. Glorious little fat, short, hobbit woman. I could have been a supermodel if the gods had gifted me a desire for healthy small amounts of food and at least another 12 inches of height. Ha ha ha. But I was not born to be admired for my beauty, but for my intricate spiritual mind. Ho-hum. It doesn't pay the bills or give me a lifestyle that I can relax in, but it's still interesting. So I'm just scrolling through. I think that was the only really cool one. Oh, no. There's another cool one. 5th of October, 2019. I feel like a sea anemone floating in the cosmos, in brackets, sea, unfurling and sending out signals to all that is, and when danger is near, quickly pulling back into myself. A great evil has been dogging me since that pre-admission on 24th of June, 2019. I wonder if I picked up something deadly in that hospital where even the staff do not feel supported or protected. Still, I did not die, even though I came close, so close. The stalker on Friday night, then the loss of my pet hen yesterday. Too much. A sequence of events that have piled up, one on top of the other, as I swirl and sway, holding my sacred space and keenly wrought balance in the psychodrama of a life. I am like a little clownfish hiding amongst the coral, trying not to expose my characteristic colours too much as I feel the hand of God upon me. Meanwhile, my beautiful friend Lynn is coming to visit me. That will be a comfort. I have been outside cleaning Charlie's cage, watering half the garden. It's windy but hot, a nice enough day for a psychedelic dreamer. Let me see. I think that was the only 2 profound writings. On that date. So, yeah, it's a lovely day. I haven't been well and I feel quite tired, but it's Friday and as is my usual habit, my usual practice, I'm planning on going dancing tonight, so Hopefully I'll have a bit of a rest later on, because otherwise I won't be able to manage it. Here's another one, another little piece. Quietly observing, in brackets, feeling my emotions cascading like a fountain, or spiralling downward and upwards in a constantly changing Fibonacci sequence, from desire and delight to despair and back again, rising and falling like the controlled and sustained elegant movement of a trotting dressage rider, trying to rein it in before it bolts, jumps over yet another obstacle. Crash and burn, gravel rash of my hurdy-gurdy life, getting harder each time to get up, stand up, and regain my saddle. Mustang Quay. That means Mustang woman in the Ojibwa language. Fuck it, we will ride bareback into the sun. And I'm not Ojibwa, by the way, but I had a Ojibwa healer, so that's where that allegory comes from. I'm not culturally appropriating people. I'm just acknowledging that he called me a Mustang Quay, half jokingly, because he said my spirit is like a Mustang that I push and push and push and push myself and ride through every storm and every horror and just keep pushing and pushing. And he said that's my spirit. So he was a healer, a Maduan in his tribe, in the Ojibwa tribe. And so I recognized that he recognized my spirit. And so I honor that. One of my nicknames now is Mustang Quay. And it's a powerful image of a wild horse riding free. So Mustang Quay, fuck it. We will ride bareback into the sun, my steed and me, my angel, my champion. I have been in the garden, shoveling the compost from the now abandoned turkey mound. I saw no babies this year, and schlepping it down to the front garden to fill in the soil that he stole from initially, and the rest has washed away. It looks much nicer. I packed some around the lemongrass that was existing on barely any dirt. It said, "Thanks." Well, not in so many words. I felt happy about it. I moved some rocks down for garden edging as well. The front garden should look like a showpiece. First impressions and all that. Keep up the facade of equilibrium and success. The rest can all just go to hell. Well, not literally. My whole place is doing really well. I've put a lot of effort to keep my housing commission place looking nice. Spiritual gold, remember? It has given me a lot of pleasure, something to do when I have been angry or distraught or just plain bored. I listened to Manny Wack's interview while I worked. Manny Wack has been a tireless campaigner on the subject of child sexual abuse in the Jewish community. He himself is a survivor, and I have supported him over the years in his campaign or in his truth speaking and in his advocacy. So that's who Manny Wack is. You can Google him if you'd like to know more. Spelled MANNYWAKS. He has written a book, I don't remember the title, about his own experiences of child sexual abuse in synagogues growing up in Melbourne, Australia. I listened to Manny Wack's interview while I worked, then the interview about the new show Deep Water about gay killings in Bondi. Interesting, but perturbing. The world is filled with so much pain and horror, but dirt keeps getting shoveled. New growth unfurls exponentially, flowers bloom and then die. Something brave and young and strong creeps slowly and inexorably. That probably should say inexorably. Out of the dark, moist depths of the earth. Seeds germinate, life flows, and even the failure to thrive beauties, like me, often surprise me with a new burst of new life, of vibrancy, and even flourish. Makes an old, tired, broken heart and mind feel peaceful. Nothing lost and everything gained in the tree of knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life that inspires and blesses and even nurtures my soul. Every mortal bastard that ever pruned me to the deepest cuts and left me bleeding and wallowing in death's strong clasp shall pay his or her dues. Time tells the stories of survival and glorious triumphs over desecration, abomination, and oppression. Time and God have their own agenda. I waited so long and in vain. But at times the pain subsides and I am stripped bare in the garden of delights, watching everything breathe and, if necessary, reinvent itself. A delight. And then I posted this wonderful meme, and it says it's of the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. It says, "I'm not crazy. My reality is just different than yours." I love it. Absolutely love it. Awake and aware, another glorious day in paradise. The sun is shining. Goldfish are happy. Hens are happy. Dog and cats are sublime. I am alive. What more can I want? More? Please, sir, can I have some more? My garden is flourishing. Everywhere I look, nodding flowers and new spring growth, rebirthing from the wintry discombobulation, celebrating our life. Who will buy this wonderful morning, such a sky? I swear I could fly. A gift from above and below. Thank you. And my beautiful Lynn Sloan responded, who will tie it up with a ribbon and put it in a box for me? Which is a song from Oliver Twist, the movie, not the actual book. But Oliver Twist was a wonderful movie. I watched it a lot during my childhood. Trigger warning: intrafamilial incest, emotional and mental abuse. So if you can't handle these sorts of topics, go and make a cup of tea or turn me off. You have the power of the X button at any given time, which doesn't mean that you should run and hide from truth. But if your nerves are rattled and you just can't do it today, I, as much as anyone else who's a survivor, completely understand. So take a break. When I was a kid, I was told I was stupid and insane by both my toxic parents. I would come home with glowing reports from school, resplendent with A's and B's, poorer marks for maths and phys ed. I'm pretty sure I had dyscalculia, and that was my main reason why I couldn't understand mathematics. Do you know who I could have been if I'd been good at mathematics? I could have been anybody. Anyway, I digress. They would treat them, meaning my marks, with contempt. Even my paedophile godfather told them they should praise me for being bright, and told my mother to quit hitting me in the face, as it would ruin my teeth. It did, abscesses. In some ways, he was a better parent, but his sexual predation was far more damaging. To prove them all wrong, I went to university just before my 17th birthday. I loved it there, feeling grown up and free of my childhood. I was very isolated, but soon made friends. Home was a nightmare. My mother thought me being at university was an opportunity for revenge on my much older sister, who had 3 degrees. I was lousy at my law subjects and failed, passing only French and English. And I was doing pretty good at religious studies too, which I regret I didn't continue now. In the second year, I got involved in student politics. Adult people with presumably high intellect would write filthy things about me on toilet doors. I was still technically a virgin at the time. I eventually had a kind of breakdown, entering into a deep depression, so I dropped out of university. My first and only rebellion against my mother and sister as a teenager. They yelled at me for hours. I held my ground. I wanted out of all the sickness and abuse. Ultimately, it took me over 40 years to get free of them all. I had no way of knowing that at the time, so I grew up quick, converted to Judaism, got married, and ended up with another emotional abuser. Oh well. If it was only that simple, oh well. By 28, I knew what I had done to myself, and I wanted a better life for myself and my kids, so I got us out of there, out of the frying pan and into the fire. The violence and mental emotional abuse escalated. Yup, my mother and ex-husband never quit harassing me. It took her demise and death to finally get freedom. So I was told I couldn't sing and was tone deaf. Maybe smoking pot unlocked something when I was 40. I will never be a good singer, but my daughter tells me I actually can hold a tune now. Well, if it's a song I know well. I always forget the words, people. I was told I was stupid, insane. My psychiatrist told me my IQ as a child would have been off the charts, but as I got older, years of trauma would have dulled it slightly. I always thought I got dumber after the pregnancies and motherhood. Baby brain. Nup. Trauma. Although I'm not insane, I am very damaged after years of major depression and PTSD, well, complex PTSD. My parents told me I was useless, then were intensely envious of me when I had a lovely house with my husband and a successful, while I was in it, business. They would scream that I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Well, I must have choked on the bastard thing as it has fucked up my innards, as I ultimately lost or walked away from any hope of prosperity. The price of my freedom and sanity was too high. It was leave or die. I almost died anyway when my husband set someone up to strangle me. Later, 2 separate former lovers strangled me too. Men either wanted to stick their tongue down my throat or choke me. Glad that is over. So after all those experiences, I became a zombie, existing just for the sake of my kids, shuffling the mental patient shuffle, trialling all sorts of antidepressants while I waited for karma and Lady Death to smite my enemies. It took another 20 years, but I got slightly healthier. I got wiser, older, and stopped letting people stomp me into the ground after burying me alive. Even zombies get tired of breaking out of the ground. I eventually got sick and tired of being one. It kept me safe and closeted, lol. Then after my last relationship breakdown, the death of my mother, and the horrendously evil, salacious will dispute, once again I chose life. But this time I got it right. That was 4 years ago. After a year of grieving my mother and Courtney, I walked into an outlaw motorcycle clubhouse off the street. Uninvited, without knowing anyone. My most courageous, audacious chutzpah in my life. I was accepted by the hierarchy immediately. I told them that I wanted a partner, a real man who knows how to treat a real woman who is unusual and is done with abusers. My actual words were, this is true, people, point me to the single men. I don't want to step on anyone's toes, and I'm not here for drama. I am sick to death of buckle riding, pink frilly knickered bullies who can't or won't treat me right. The man who turned out to be the president burst out laughing. I was accepted. I was welcome. That is when I knew I was wild and free, and as an abuse survivor, wild and free men loved me. They got me. They respected me. They too were survivors. One day the president told me his Dutch father had been in a concentration camp at age 12. I told him my Dutch stepfather had been in one aged 18. We bonded over that. We knew exactly which traumas we were raised with, apart from our own. He was always kind to me and protected me. I was his muse. He didn't let me get a partner either. He told me his men were unsuitable for me. I was too good for them. I was devastated. Told him so. See you next week then, love. He was a good friend to me, him and his partner. I used to dance with her. A former dear friend of mine from Kadima congregation, Dr. John Bradley. The man who designed our logo I now sport as a tattoo, which I did get through that clubhouse. One of their tattooists did it for me. Gave me a discount, which was kind. Made a beautiful Kabbalistic amulet for me. A poster with Makom written on it. God can be found in strange places, he said. There are 49 gateways to heaven. Some are hidden or invisible. Even Jacob met the angel he wrestled with while sleeping on a rock for a pillow. That fight with the angel caused Jacob to be renamed Israel. I have fought with demons all my life, my former family, my lovers, my own fears. Now I fight oppression, child abuse, and am an armchair activist. I live in poverty and housing commission alone, but I am the richest person I know. I have something that money cannot buy. I have love, life, and myself. It is awesome, inspiring, validating, and beautiful. It is happiness. It is freedom. It is knowing that angels are real and they do have my back. Even if they play tricks on me, there is comedy and tragedy and comedy. Yin and yang and the singularity point of my existence. Just because. No rhyme or reason. It is all starting to make sense. Hang on a minute, we lost that little bit. It is all starting to make sense. The paradoxes of my parenting, my broken heart and disturbed, rattled mind, my ever-loving, indomitable soul that never let me leave this earth, as I knew, as my good friend Sylvia Shine of now blessed memory used to tell me, good times are a-coming, Tanya, so hold on. She was right. It was a beautiful lie at the time, but a lie that manifested into a reality. Positivity is the best kind of lie you can tell yourself or another. Build me up, buttercup. A song I was singing along to with a guy I met over a week ago. The synchronicity not lost on me, even if he lied about following through on a date. Ha ha. Just keep going, move it, hold on, believe in yourself, and love. Never let the bastards grind you down. Nil carborundum et bastardos. I promise you, Dr. Harry Smith of now blessed memory, and Professor Gordon Senator, who taught me that useful piece of Latin advice, I won't ever. I am not the Jew I used to be, not the child I used to be, not the woman I used to be. I am more. I am a butterfly. My time in the sunshine in the garden of bliss. It might be too little, too late, but it is my time to fly and taste the nectar of life's warmth and life's blessing. A butterfly might not live very long. But she flies and flies and shimmers and shines and is stunning and awe-inspiring, and someday she might alight on your finger or hair and bless you with a kiss. Let her be free and love her anyway, just because. She has transformed and transmuted, but she still remembers the caterpillar and the molten chrysalis. She knows who the fuck she is, even if she has no idea where she is going. You can pull her wings off, but she will always be the butterfly. Don't anyone dare pull my wings off. My angels will smite you. Trust in that. So this is in response to a meme, I think. So I write here, yup, I am a sugar addict. My mother got me hooked as a very small child. When upset or triggered by my PTSD, which is really complex PTSD, I crave it like a drug. It is one of my few comforts in life. Instant relief and happiness in lollies or candy. When I was younger and driven by my hormones, I would get savage at PMS time if I couldn't get lollies or chocolate. Even my husband knew what had to be done to quell the rage. When I was pregnant, he used to go out in the middle of the night to find an open service station to get me chocolate. It was the only supportive thing he would do for me. He was actually very cruel to me when I was pregnant, apart from treating me like a child and buying me lollies in the night, enabling my addiction. I still go on sugar binges, but over time I recognised how strong the addiction actually is. I have stood in supermarket confectionery aisles muttering, poison, 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 to avoid buying sugar. It did work sometimes. Sometimes it did help. I thank God every day that I was not introduced to heroin or any other hard drug as a teenager. I would not have survived. My mother and a neighbour who was an RN, which is registered nurse, actually took me to a flat aged 11 to a friend's home in St Kilda who was a major heroin addict and a prostitute. They showed me the dirty needles, the 3-year-old neglected child in dirty nappies, and the mirrors on the ceiling. That was how my mother deprogrammed me about hardcore drugs, by attempting to frighten me. It worked. One of the few fucked up, weird-ass parenting motifs she got right. She told me at the time that Hitler made all 13-year-old schoolchildren be taken on school trips to the sanitariums to witness end-stage syphilitic patients. This was designed to frighten them from having teenage sex. According to her, it worked. She was terrified until her 20s. She must have understood that with her own addiction to sugar, and now mine, it would possibly lead to other, more dangerous addictions. I got off light, only being addicted to oxygen, happiness, which I deserve in abundance after the life I have had, sugar, and love. I think love for me is still a more dangerous addiction than even sugar. It involves another person, and that brings such unpredictability unpredictability and instability into my life. As an abused child, I always choose poorly or attract psychopaths, having been raised by narcissist sociopaths and pedophiles and their enablers. Love is still a very confusing, dangerous and frightening thing for me. It represents rejection and abandonment and years of grief. So I will take lollies or chocolates for a quick fix any day. My new addiction is dancing at the pub with the awesome bands and hanging out with friends. I love it. 1:47 a.m. Try to go to sleep but feel an immense attunement. Someone is tapping into my energy, i.e. thinking of me. I wonder who it is. I will have to try to shake it off and settle into sleep. So that was the 5th of October, and I'll quickly peruse. How can I do it? No, that's not it. I'll just see if there's any stories from today, the 6th of October, that I want to share with you. And if not, we'll leave it at that for today because we're already at 47 minutes and I don't want to bore people or have them go into overwhelm. It's just it's not fun and it's not interesting. It's too much hard work, really. But I hope you glean some something out of those stories, those writings, ramblings. It's so annoying on vocal media because if you've got to search for a story, you've got to trawl through all the things. You should be able to just type in a date and it just comes up, but it doesn't work that way. So blah, 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 blah. Vocal media, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I pay quite a bit of money each month to preserve all my stories and my journaling, my legacy, and I don't know if anybody even reads it. I think I have very few people who've read my stuff, and I know why, because it's very traumatizing at times. But it's there for anyone who wants to study a end-state survivor of complex PTSD, child sexual abuse, of domestic violence, of systemic abuse, of governmental oppression and abuse. It's all there for eternity in the ether. And I'm grateful for that. Even though I have to pay for the privilege, I'm grateful that it's being stored and preserved and protected. So today's date, the 6th of October, I wrote in 2022, so 1 year ago. I woke up with trauma memories this morning. The terrible nursing when I had my hysterectomy bladder repair. I thought, what the fuck? Why think about that as your very first thoughts this morning? Then I remembered it's almost the 15th anniversary. Well, it's nearly 16 years now. On 30th of October 2007, of that event. So my subconscious and my body is keeping the score, albeit a few weeks early. I am nervous as hell as I have my second market stall on Sunday. As always, I fear failure even as much as I fear success. So my brain does these weird trauma backflips like a gymnast on a rebound bar or a flying trapeze artist strutting his stuff on a high wire hanging languorously by a thread. I must remember that Grandmother Spider, Queen of Creativity, Beauty and Abundance, has started me on this journey some years back because I requested the gods for assistance, and now it is manifesting beautifully. I need only trust in the magic and my own hard work and innate abilities. Which, by the way, that didn't quite work out because I'd made no sales for three months in a row. I went there, monthly, for 3 times monthly, made no sales. So that threw me into despondency too. But anyway, I carry on writing and making jewellery just for my own pleasure, for my own, just to keep my mind busy and active and, stretch myself and challenge myself. I've worked hard in recent years, very hard. I worked the past 2 days on making skull earrings for Halloween. I don't know if they will sell, but they are now transmuted and look lovely, so I am content with my efforts, although today I am utterly exhausted. I will need to rest and build up some reservoirs of physical and psychic energies for my day out at the markets. Hopefully there won't be any more weird toxic people like that man with his son last month. This man came with his son, made the most dreadful scene, was so cruel to his child that I actually considered calling child services. It was awful. At any rate, I am proud of myself for trying to function in ordinary reality by at least attempting to sell my creations. My psychiatrist told me yesterday he is proud of me too, for being unmedicated these past 6 years and 4 months, and for my strength and determination to fully engage with life again, for my trying 7 years and 4 months now, holding my mind together as the whole planet unravelled in front of my eyes. It's been very confronting. He asked me if I had heard from Dave. Dave was a former love interest of mine. I replied I had not spoken to him for over a year now. Hopefully that love bond is broken, but I know what usually happens when my psychiatrist asks about him. Like a beacon or a siren song that has slipped third base, Dave usually appears as though out of nowhere. My psyche has this weird gift of intuition that is very on point. But then so do I. Our Jungian connection is rarely wrong, so I bet you I run into that one somewhere. Last time I saw him, it was dark, and I was driving my car to the casino, and I spotted him standing at the lights at Coorparoo intersection, next to his bicycle with a pale blue bike helmet, just staring at me. And when he saw I had seen him, he quickly turned his head, hoping I had not noticed. Foolish man, the Tanya notices many things. Many things in a microsecond that she often deliberately chooses to ignore, like feckless, lying, game-playing, trickster men. But something has shifted in my core. I am different now. I am ready to allow truest, deepest love. I am ready to be a businesswoman again, an artist, a writer, a revolutionary, and a lover. Trust me, at this stage of life, being a lover for me is a revolutionary act, given the evil that was perpetrated against me for decades. In the right time ordained by the gods, as I cannot allow any more abusers or fuck-ups. In perfect alignment with my holiest ones who have my back and have kept my heart pristine and protected me these past 8 years or so. They want me to kick off the training wheels, but will I ever be ready to trust in a human male sexual partner? Ever, ever, ever again? I have taken abysmal, vainglorious leaps of faith before, and the hard, cold, embittered landings were calamitous. But like Calamity Jane, I weaponized my feminine mystique, not with guns and a shootout, but with words and dancing until I dropped, and wild, tempestuous energy vortices of deeply impassioned war cries. The old, unrequited lusts fell away, and what was I left with? A longing, but also a wry humour. There are bigger loves in my life now, much bigger and much wiser than I. Ancient ones who guard my mind, body, and spirit. So the next time Dave cycles by, we shall watch in bemusement. Real love of the Tanya is unforgettable. And then a friend of mine, whom I know from drumming, Michaela Antochi, shared the Be Good Tanya's song, Waiting Around to Die, which I thought was hilarious, the dry humour. She said, just sharing an awesome sound that these girls named the Be Good Tanyas make, hoping you'll find it enjoyable. And I replied, that's awesome, Michaela. Lovely music. The Tanya's always striving to be good while waiting around to die. Laughing my ass off. In the meantime, since death constantly teases us, we have to get busy with living. Thanks for the reminder. Most Tanyas I have ever met have similar fates or similar energy to mine. We are usually quite anarchistic. It must be the fairy magic connected to our name. P.S. I just woke up, so your lovely song was my very first thought this morning. Gorgeous music. So those comments must have been from the following day. But anyway, it was just gorgeous. I thought that was lovely. Thank you, Michaela, for cheering me along in my strange, misbegotten, off-kilter, out of sync, weird life. So from the 6th of October 2021, I wrote, do you remember when zombie apocalypse movies were the stuff of fantastical, surrealist nightmares and sci-fi? And now it's not. I used to almost rock my own head off my own shoulders to that song while dancing at the Live Wire Bar and other clubs. I thought I was showing solidarity with freedom fighters everywhere, but now I realise I was intuiting the evil bullshit that is still spreading like effluent. Time to paint my face blue and go to war. First thought upon awaking today. Beautiful things are coming to you. This was 2021, people, and it's coming true before my eyes. Beautiful things are indeed coming to me. Still sleep-addled, but ever the doubtful Tanya, I replied sardonically, really? I only want one beautiful thing, my truest, deepest love. They replied equally sardonically, really? Then I just saw Tom Sheridan's video about Israel finally seeing the light in this COVID evil darkness and responding to the Dr. Mengele-esque government-spawned lies, which Tom says is why Facebook was shut down. Two things. Where were you, fellow Jews, and why were you so compliant? But welcome back from the brink, my people, even though you disowned me for daring to speak to truth about child sexual abuse. Welcome back. The world is waking up to this COVID agenda, finally. Almost too late for the 80%ers. But today is a good day to be happy to be alive and to see the world awaken. Thank you, God and Goddess. I have been praying for healing and protection for our planet, balance, peace, good health, not of the augmented, unnatural, interfering with nature, transhumanist, evil perversions kind. Yes, say yes to life. L'chaim, my beloveds, my children of earth, my brave warriors of light and truth. I love you. Keep being brave and holding strong. We need each other. And then I posted a song called The Bridge of River Yarra. I don't even remember what that song is now. I'll have to listen to it again, won't I? Must have had lyrics that resonated. We need each other, but I don't want your pure blood, pristine flesh. I will be carefully conserving my own though. Love you anyway. And then I wrote, get that for me, Deirdre, which is a quote from a Monty Python skit. And then I posted Zombie by the Cranberries, because this is the world I'm witnessing now, I'm living through now. The young have become weird. It's not safe for me to stand in a queue. They jostle and push into me and are dishonouring and disrespectful, just plain rude. And these are our young people. Like, what hope is there for the future when there's just such dishonour and just horror? It's disturbing to my mind. But I'm going dancing tonight because I won't let any bastard grind me down, ever. So, and I continue on. What is this war I'm fighting? Love, humans, even the festy, copic, stupid, evil ones. Earth, life, freedom for the people, and safety, and shalom. And then I posted beautiful photos of my beautiful dog who I miss terribly. October 2019, 11:11 p.m. May all our wishes manifest in the present moment. I had a lovely day and I am grateful. Yesterday and last night I was showered in love from my beautiful friends. Lynn heard the agony in my voice over the phone as I was distressed about losing my beautiful hen and, you know, my interminably weird struggle of a life. She came over to visit me immediately and gifted me with 2 new towels and chocolate sultanas. We sat in the garden and I felt comforted by her presence. I gifted her with a fairy, that would be a knitted fairy because I was knitting fairies in those days, to give to her neighbour Jenny, who was also struggling with sadness. Jared rang and we chatted for a few hours. That too, as always, is a comfort. Then I went dancing at the casino and felt very loved and supported by my friends there. Karen planted a big lip gloss kiss on my cheek. Rascal. Tisha gifted me also. We danced cheekily and had a lot of fun, and for once I did not get any vile creeps harassing me. Phew. Moana and Joe and Sally were wild and joyous also. Thanks for the affection and friendship to you all. I got home and passed out with exhaustion, but I feel much brighter today. Thanks to all my beautiful soulkin, human and non-human, who buoy me up in my darkest moments and rejoice with me when I climb out of my abysmal abyss and fly joyously again. I know I can often be a burden, which is not my intention, but I do strive to exude joy and loveliness too. The ever-swirling psychedelic dreamer sends her colours out to the cosmos, and you never know what you are going to get, as my brain is often discombobulated. Ha ha ha. I love you all. Kiss. And my cousin Megan sent me some meme about discombobulate, and she wrote, "Lol cousin, you and your discombobulate." And I laughed back and said, "When in doubt, fake it till you make it. If perchance, as the gods have decreed, the Tanya has simply not made it, discombobulate." I was about to say it works for me, only it kinda really doesn't, laughing my ass off. And my friend Jared wrote, "Meh, over faking it till you make it. If in doubt, freak them out." And I replied, one of my very favourite hard-won life skills, my handsome Jared, freak out, man. And my friend Rachel wrote for me to, sending love, asked Nick, who was a psychic healer, if he can do anything to help her. He will let you know where she is at her life plan. Oh, she must have written that before my beautiful hen died. And Jared wrote back, "Discombobulate, get me a calmative." It's a video of the grandpa and Simpsons. I'm discombobulated, get me a calmative. And I laughed and I wrote back, "Chocolate is my calmative." Man, sometimes you just need weed, but I don't indulge in that very often, very rarely in fact. The life of the Tanya. It's been weird, but at least I can laugh about it sometimes. 2:25 a.m. on the 6th of October 2018. Home from a great night out. My ankles are really sore, probably from all the exuberant dancing. Only disappointing thing was I broke my necklace. I will have to buy more wire to fix it. It's probably that same skull necklace that I just fixed again. I had a feeling before I left the house that it might break tonight. It'll be that one. I always have a feeling that it's going to go. My intuition is spot on as usual. I went to the casino after ecstatic dance and carried on being awesome with Karen and Tisha. Oh my. But after 1:30 a.m, I looked at Karen and said, "Gotta go home." My soul had left my body and I thought I might drop dead on the spot. So I walked in the rain to the 7-Eleven to buy some red licorice for a massive sugar hit, because I'm a sugar addict. I almost got run over by a police van as I was trying to undo my shawl to wear it over my head, and heard the crossing sound go off, but stepped out only to be tooted at by the angry cop. For fuck's sake, it was an honest mistake, but it was the adjacent crossing that had sounded off. So I stepped back off the road, waited for my turn to cross the road, like a fucking sodden chicken. Then went to my car after buying lollies and read a bit, as I was so exhausted and not sure if still over the limit. I figured if I could read a page, okay, my brain was still synapsing, which is not bad for a warrior goddess, zombie queen. Came home, now in the bath, with a cup of tea and yummy yogurt my lovely Sally bought for me. Good night, all. Earlier that day I'd written, eating Abe's bagels with avocado that Sally bought for me. Utterly delicious. The texture of the bagels combined with the avocado is just amazing. Grateful for all my amazing friends who nurture and nourish my body, mind and spirit in so many profoundly life-affirming ways. Love you. Oh, this was kind of interesting. Orgone Termite Control sent by Housing sent a lovely inspector from Vietnam. He didn't fly over from Vietnam. What I meant by that was he's born in Vietnam. He was so friendly and peaceful and adored my garden. I gave him some ripe coffee beans to grow his own tree. He told me how to cook my banana flowers, take out the hard core and soak them in vinegar, then use them in stir fries. He advised me to cut the flowers off each tree, leaving only 4 or 5 flowers, as the flowers take all the strength from the developing bananas and cause them to be small. He said to put all the grass clippings around the banana as it will keep the moisture in. They need lots of mulch. His mother had a mango coconut farm in Vietnam, and she also had dams full of fish. He loved my fish ponds. So today has been a day full of gifts. One from Nivea, I won a prize from Nivea, and one from the beautiful advice on my banana trees. I am happy and grateful. Also, there were no termites. Even better. Then I wrote, hotter than hell, but I have my new sunscreen on, a cup of tea, cooking rice to have with my leftover dinner, a bird on my hand because he feels lonely. This was before he laid eggs and proved himself to be a she. 2 devoted dogs. I would have been looking after Harvey at the time. Cats doing the cat's meow. The pest man is right. Everything is harmonious and life is good right now. Oh wow, I just got woken up by a courier delivering a prize from Nivea, a big bottle of sunscreen. I am so surprised. I hardly ever win anything. Sunscreen is a much needed commodity, Shamewar, with my increasingly damaged skin. Woot! I will leave a nice review on the product. I had lots of broken sleep last night. Full moon, nervous Harvey. We were up every 2 to 3 hours so he could pee outside. Still a puddle left on my rug, which I discovered as my dressing gown I sling on to get to the door was dripping pee down my leg. Sigh, thanks dogs. So I quickly cleaned the patch of pee on my rug and leg of my bed, his favourite spot. He was so good during the night but must have decided to have a protest pish this morning. Now we are all back in bed, snuggling like angelic sweethearts, and I need to sleep some more. And I do miss him. He passed away a few years ago, and It's my friend Jared's dog, and we really do miss him quite badly. 6th of October 2012. Last night I went to see the Hip Shooters at the Joint in West End. They were excellent. I left early as I had sore feet and wanted to cruise the city a bit before I got too tired. As I left, some guy who had been invited to play with the band followed me, making loud stomping sounds with his shoes down the middle of the road and talking in some made-up language. It was very disconcerting, but I kept walking and decided to ignore him rather than answer back in German, French or Hebrew. Not safe to engage with nutters. Also, my Hebrew's, very scant. Laughing my ass off. Eventually he turned right and I turned left at the main road and got away from him. Sigh. I had a good night though. 6th of October 2011. I had a lovely lunch with Lynn at Kuparu RSL, where then we explored the markets together. Then I went home and still, unimaginable but true, still felt so tired. I went to sleep for another couple of hours. The dormant dormouse routine is so boring, but what can I say? I'm tired. I hope I have some more fun. I hope I have more fun in the future. Lots more fun. I'll wake up for that. Update, 6th of October 21. And yes, I did manage to have more fun and come back to life just before the COVID epoch got started, for fuck's sake. It's 1:14 a.m. and I am still exhausted as when I finally got up for the day at 4 p.m. Tomorrow my darling Lynn, these are going backwards. Tomorrow my darling Lynn is taking me out for lunch, so this will be worth getting out of bed for. Sleeping now, so I'm fully present and accounted for when she comes to pick me up. Just how I have to live my life. I literally have to knock myself down so I have energy to cope with life or spend time with my beloved friends and family, I need a nap before I go dancing tonight. What's the time now? 2:13. I have to have a nap this afternoon. It was last Friday I went out and I didn't have a nap and I struggled. I was really quite tired. And then I got held up at the light at the railway crossing, and there were all these weird delays and weirdness. But I just have to push through it, It's important that I dance. I need that exercise and that social outlet. Even though I think I'm dying and I don't feel well, I just have to strut my stuff. Or otherwise I'll have no life at all if I just give in and succumb to it all. And that's how I've lived my life, people, as you can see from my diaries. Pushing and pushing and pushing, like the Mustang Quay I am. 6th of October 2010. Today was a mixed bag of emotion. Woke up traumatised. Got a visit from my darling friend Lynn, who brought me more bricks from my garden. Then later got an email with a death threat. Lol, what can I say? I have that effect on some people. It's interesting that some people would rather kill me than face their own demons. I remember who that was. Yeah, that was one of my ex-boyfriend's friends. What a pack of freaking idiots they really were. They were just utterly moronic, just junkies and dickwads and, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm so glad I don't have those people anywhere near me in my life anymore. I did run into one of his friends a couple of years back, and he was actually lovely to me, and yet Courtney had said he was going to kill me if he met me. So here you go. I still don't know what that was about. I didn't do anything to these people except describe them as junkies and dickwads, which if you do a lot of drugs and behave like a dickwad, you are a junkie and a dickwad. That's just how it works, people. can't handle their own reality don't come whining at me, threatening to kill me. I've had to handle my own reality without drugs, without psych meds, you know, admittedly with lollies and the occasional Jack Daniels on the weekend, but I've handled my life on my own with the support of my psychiatrist and 2 very close friends and a few other wonderful friends who have also blessed me and are wonderful. But by and large, I've done this life alone, including raising 2 children on my own. So I have no tolerance for weak, pathetic people who are just vicious for no reason. I really don't. Not going there ever again. True love is for, well, who knows. I should clarify, I wrote clarity. The visit from Lynn was the lovely thing that happened for me today. The rest was, well, bullshit. Thank God I have some genuinely kind people in my life. They help balance out the other shitheads. Lol. Clarity means clarify. But it's nice I've been provided with some clarity also. Nothing like clear seeing to make one feel more grounded. Rose-coloured glasses. Oh dear, choking on my own reality. Rose-coloured glasses are lovely to shield from everyone else's crap, but when the shards fall, well, all you got is 20/20 vision and a shitload of hindsight. So, yeah, that's it. That's my offerings from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm today. Lots of things to think about and process. Yeah, there's a reason why I never settled down for another relationship, because there was too much damage from that one in 2010. And then there was too much damage from the one that I fell in love with in 2014. Although he wasn't in a relationship, wasn't in a committed relationship with me, but certainly circled my orbit or cycled my existence, for about 9 years. He's drifted off now, which is good, It was a bit awkward when I ran into his cousin at the Brooklyn Standard about a month ago. But, his cousin was actually kind, reasonably kind and decent, although we didn't communicate with each other. He was cycling around me out of, I guess, fascination, They're all very fascinated. All they had to do was be kind and decent and honourable and make a commitment and not throw their harlots in my face, It was ugly. It was ugly behaviour. But it is what it is, and 10 years later, nearly, it'll be 10 years since I met that man briefly in 2013 in October. I think it was the 20th of October. I think might have been the 15th. I can't remember now, it's so many years ago, but it was 10 years. I met him at the Elephant very briefly, and then I met him again 4 months later, and that's when our thwarted, abdicated, obfuscated, desecrated, stymied, stomped on, destroyed love began to bloom in February 2014. And I'm still sad and disappointed about that to this day, because I honestly, erroneously and foolishly and stupidly thought he was the one. Yes, so the one never came along, and even if the one did come along now, I wouldn't be able to trust in them, so there is that. And I think I'm dying now, so it really doesn't matter now, does it? It's all too little, too late. And I'm just living my best life every day and enjoying what's left of my life. And as I said, I'll be out dancing tonight. and the one will be the many, because they all flock around like busy little bees, more like predatory hunting seagulls, squawking and peeping, and I just casually flick them all off mid-dance. But I did have a lovely dance with that young man last week, and yes, as I think I said earlier in this video, I was just astonished because the image of him showed up in my residue of my tea leaves, not the actual tea leaves, but whatever had seeped through the tea bag, was a image 2 weeks ago on the 13th of September of a bald man with what looked like cauliflower ears. Well, the young man I met last week didn't have cauliflower ears, but he was bald and he had a red beard, and the head shape was exactly the same as what I saw in my cup. So I was actually looking at him last week thinking, you look familiar, why do you look familiar? And then last night I went through my Instagram photos and was looking at something, and part of me looked at the image in the cup in the bottom of the mug that I had posted up on Instagram and Facebook. I got a shock because I recognised immediately who it was. It's that young man I danced with last week. Now, I'm not going to go and have a relationship with him because he's young, could be my son, but we danced nicely together, and I thought, well, there you go. I'll probably run into him again. He probably comes regularly to that club, and we can be dancing friends. There's nothing wrong with that. Far too young for me for anything romantic, But and I'm not looking for that anyway with anyone. But certainly wouldn't with such a young man in his early 20s. But when we finished dancing, he said to me, "Oh, that was intense," and I was like, "Well, I actually had a lovely time. Thank you for dancing with me." And he was like, "I'm so easily defeated," and I said to him, one must never let anyone defeat them, ever. And he sort of freaked out and ran away. But anyway, he was a sweetheart. But it's just strange that I was literally shown his facial features in a cup only a few weeks prior. And then met him in real life a week later. I think it was about a week later. It was last week. Yeah, well, anyway, it was not long after, a week and a half later. So it's given me pause for thought now because, the spirits and the angels and the ancestors that love me are surrounding me with love and, encouragement and motivation, and showing me that they're being truthful and giving me accurate information. I think that's all the point of that was, that they showed me this image of this young man in a cup, and then when he turned up in real life, it was almost like confirmation of see, we told you were going to meet this person. So I'm finding that very interesting because it means that a lot of other things that have been said to me that I've been doubting of their veracity because I thought it was wishful thinking or fantasies in my head, blah, 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 might still come true. But when they do come true, will I be able to trust? I don't know. I don't know who it is specifically. Could be somebody new that I haven't met yet. But it's very strange. It's been a very strange couple of weeks. And anyway, we shall see what we shall see this evening, tonight at 11 o'clock when I go dancing. We'll see who comes along. I just hope I don't have any nasty women like I experienced the last few weeks. One was stomping on my feet 2 weeks ago, and the other one harassing me, a couple of them harassing me in the queue, It's exhausting. They don't want to be seen with old ladies, They think we should just crawl away and die, not realising that we've got just as much right to go dancing and listen to live music and enjoy a night out as they do, We were young and pretty once too, and by goodness, I never treated anyone older than me with such dishonour and disrespect. It's like, I actually liked, when I was a young girl, I actually enjoyed being around older people, and I'm talking ancient people, sometimes like really elderly in their 70s and their 80s. I used to always sit at the table with them at functions and ask them questions about what their lives were like when they were younger, and what did they think about life now, and how I was trying to gather their wisdom and osmosively absorb as much as I could, because I knew I'd been raised by monsters and that I was missing very key components of my of my personality being formed by predators and monsters. I knew I was missing some magical key to life, and that I would find it in the elderly, And my mother used to mock and deride me. She said, "And what's you doing hanging around all those old people, and you're so weird," and it's like, she was quite threatened by it, and the fact that she was threatened by it made me want to hang out with older people even more, because I realised she knew I was seeking knowledge, I was seeking wisdom, and I was seeking parenting, or not parenting from these strange elderly people, but maybe, how can I word it? Validation, I guess. I was seeking validation, and I was wanting to be seen as a very young teenager, young woman. I was wanting to be seen and heard and recognised for my spirit and my fierce determination to stay alive and thrive. So here we are, thriving in my eternal psychedelic dream. So I send you love and blessings from Sacred Space, and keep living your best life wherever you are on planet Earth or in the outer echelons of the cosmos, whoever you are, and never give up on yourself, and love life and love each other, and let the shits that were incapable of treating you with any decency or kindness, just let them go. There's more important things at stake in this world than dwelling on our enemies, and as you can see by my writing, I dwelled on them quite enough. So in that score, I'm being a bit of a hypocrite, because I do dwell, and the pain doesn't quite leave me completely, but it's changing. It's transmuting, and it's changing flavour now into something that is just slowly drifting away, because I have more important things to focus on, which is putting my truth out into the internet world and into the ether, and leaving my little hard-won pearls of wisdom behind, because someone out there might cherish it and might actually need it and might honour it. That is my hope, people. So, bye for now. As always, God's bless.